in St. Paul, Minnesota's own Leo Jackson, 14U head football coach from Jimmy Lee Park and Rec. I'm also the, head of football operations or whatever you would call it, kind of like the lead head coach. I'd like to welcome you all today. Shooting this video for my middle school football players, and really anybody who's playing youth football. One of the hardest things that I struggle with getting kids who are either in the 7th or 8th grade and they're not beginners. It's not their first year. Is that your knowledge of the game is limited. Sometimes you can have really great players, and we all know that talent is like 70 to 80% of the reason why a kid gets on the field, especially when they're young. It's probably like 100% why they're on the field. But as you get older and that talent gap starts to shrink because kids are starting to grow and develop and those late bloomers are getting even better, sometimes it's not always the biggest kid or the fastest kid that's most successful. Oftentimes what you see, especially by the time you get in high school, is the kid that understands the game. All right, but when you can put talent with hard work and knowledge and awareness, you can really make a great player. But I have a belief. I've been a coach now for, I want to say 13 years. I think I'm in my 14th year coaching football at either the high school or the youth level. And I've also been a certified personal trainer, strength and conditioning coach. And I've always believed that I can make any kid a good high school football player. And that is through the training piece, the conditioning, and then just teaching them the game, teaching them the fundamentals, teaching them those foundational skills that a lot of kids lack. So today what I'm going to discuss is defense. Defense is a numbers game, and unfortunately a lot of our kids are struggling in school, and it shows on the football field when you start throwing numbers at them, when you're talking defensive alignments, when you're talking coverages, when you're talking blitz schemes, formations. Our kids are often lost. So remember, you got to be a good student athlete. If you do well in math, you'll do well in football because you'll be able to pick up on it faster. But today I'm going to break down the numbers of football. I'm going to break down a basic 4-4 defense, teach you guys the ins and outs of how a defense works, how a defense is called, and I guarantee that after watching this video, if you're paying attention and you really want to learn, you'll be able to take this information and apply it this fall, and you'll be a better football player. All right, you guys ready? Let's get started. So we're going to start with formations. All right, and again, I said we're going to do a basic 4-4, but I'll show you a couple formations numbers wise. So you've got 4-4 defense, you've got 3-4 defense, you got 5-2 defense. So you've got a few defenses here. Again, I'm going to focus on the 4-4. Now, where do these numbers come from? The first number is the number of linemen up front. The second number is the number of linebackers. 4-4, 4 linemen, 4 linebackers. Same thing here with the 5-2. 5 down linemen, 2 linebackers. Here, 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. Now, there are way more defenses than just those 3. You've got the 3-5-3. In really early stages of youth football, you'll see a 6-2. And then there's some defenses that aren't quite called by the number. You might hear of a defense called like a 46, which is kind of like a 4-4 over, or where you bring the safety down. So there are some variations, but basically, when it comes to defensive formations, you're going to have the number of linemen and the number of linebackers. So again, today we're working on 4-4. All right. So we're going to start out. I'm going to draw up the offensive line. Got our center, guard, tackle, and we'll throw in a tight end. All right. So there's our tight end. All right. So in this offense, strong right for the offense, but it's a strong left for the defense. Because remember, the defense is facing this way. So when we're looking down at the center, this is the left side. So my defense is calling a strong left. Now, majority of the time, especially at the youth level, teams are going to be right-handed, and that strength is going to be to the right. Very few times do teams flip their strength at the youth level. For whatever reason, people are right-handed, quarterback's right-handed, they like to go strong right, all right? So our defense, our middle linebacker is going to call strong left on this play. So now that we've established the strength, let's talk about the numbering system and alignment. I'm going to give you a really basic numbering system. There are some variations to the numbering systems. There's a use of the letter I in some systems. The higher you go, your numbering system may change, but I'm going to show you what I use at the youth level to keep it simple. When your nose tackle or D tackle is lined up head up, that means he's directly over the center's face. That's a 0. If you're standing on either shoulder, you're shading him, that is a 1. Alright, so if you're shading him to either side, alright, that's a 1 technique. 1 technique tackle. Alright, now, again, we're keeping it simple. Some people use 2I, I meaning like inside. We're just going to go down the line with the whole numbers. So we're going to say inside is 2, outside is 3. Now we're on to the tackle. Inside is 4, outside shade is 5. We'll do the same thing over here. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So one technique is shading the center. The other, shading the center. 1 techniques. 2 technique, inside the guard. 3 technique, outside shade on the guard. 4 technique, shading the tackle. 5 technique, outside shade on the tackle. You guys got that? All right. Now, again, with that whole numbering thing, there's different ways to number the tight end. All right. Sometimes, well, actually, I'm sure all of you, if you played football or been around the game, you hear like a 9 technique. That's that defensive end that stands out here and he just pass rushes the quarterback. All right. Those systems, you'll often number the tight end 6, 7, 9. In my system, I don't do that because some of the kids think, well, where's the 8? And I don't use numbers for head up because I never line anybody head up except the nose. But wherever you play football, that may change. All right, but I'll just throw that 9 out there. All right, so 6 and 9. 6 technique, inside shade on the tight end. 9 technique, outside shade the tight end. All right, so now we have our alignments. So let's actually put some defensive linemen on the board. So we got a strong left call. So how I like to establish my strength is with my 3 technique tackle. So I'm going to put a T right here. All right. Now I'm going to put my nose tackle on the field. All right. He's in a 1 technique. Weak side shade of the center. Now I'm going to throw my defensive ends on the field. I'm going to put him in a 5. All right. And then my other defensive end, he's going to be on a inside shade and a 6 on the tight end because we don't want that tight end to get a free release. All right. So let me reestablish my shades. So we know the difference. Running back. All right. So now you see where these defensive linemen are lined up. End has the outside shade. Nose tackle, weak side shade. 3 technique tackle, strong side shade. Strong side defensive end, inside shade on the tight end. All right. 4 linemen. So that is our front is 4. Now, we said we were going to cover a 4-4, so we're going to go with 4 linebackers. There's different ways to set up the 4-4. You can go to 4-4 split. You can go to 4-4 stack. You can go with a 4-4 over. That over can be strong or weak. Again, this is all about scheme and what your coaches want to do. We'll go basic for today. We'll just do 4-4 stack. Stack meaning that basically the backers are just behind the linemen. You know, they might play in the gaps a little bit. They might be covered up by the line. It depends on the stunt, what you want to do. But we've got 4 here, 4 here. 4-4 defense, all right? So Now that we've got our numbering system, and hopefully you've taken little notes and wrote this down, I'm getting ready to erase it. Matter of fact, I'll keep it up there for you. Now we're going to talk about gap assignments, all right? Because everybody's got a gap assignment. And at the linebacker level, gaps are very important. It tells you what your read is, where you should go, and how you should kind of flow to the ball when the play is in motion. All right, here's our center. So the gap here is an A gap. Next to the center, A gaps. In between the guard and tackle, B gaps. Outside the tackle, C gap. Outside the tight end, D. No tight end over here, but still D. All right, A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. So now we have our gaps. When we talk about gaps, that's usually the kind of language that you're using when we talk to our linebackers. Our defensive linemen, they'll learn about it too. We won't put that on them early because we do want our defense of line to focus on learning the numbering system and the alignment first. We'll teach them gaps second because we're typically not going to stunt with our defensive linemen too early, especially if they don't know where to line up. So pretty much whatever we show, however we line them up, that's the gap that they're going to take. They're just going to go straight ahead. If we've got some really good athletes, some really smart athletes, then we can stunt and we can send them into different gaps and not let their alignment determine where they're going to go. All right, so now we're talking about backers. All right, so right now we've got a B gap that's unoccupied. This backer here could have B gap. All right, this backer here, you could have this A. All right, and this backer here, he would have D. All right, and then this guy would be outside support D. Even though this end doesn't have anybody outside of him, he's still C, he's still D. All right, so I'm gonna use a different color marker. So let's have some lines on the board. All right, so D gap, B gap, A gap, D gap. Now I want everybody to understand, I know green is a little faint, may not be able to see it that well, but there's a point to that. These linebackers are not blitzing, all right? There's no stunt going on. This is just gap assignments, the gap that it's your job to fill right away on the snap of the ball. Linebacker coaches hopefully are teaching their players, teaching you that you need to take a read step. You're typically going to be taking a read step towards your gap, especially our level young kids. Most of you are not athletic enough to, not step into your gap first. We want to teach you to kind of read step up into that gap, reduce the distance between where you start off the play and then at the snap of the ball. All right, get a little closer to your gap, get ready to take on the run. So those are our gap assignments for our linebackers. And naturally, these shades from these defensive linemen, we know their gaps too. All right, so end has C, nose tackle has A, strong side tackle has B, end has C. So every single gap is covered. All right, so I hope you're all picking that up. Defensive linemen, you know your alignments, your gap comes natural. Linebackers, you got to know A, B, C, or D so you know which gap is being covered. All right, now finally, the third set of numbers that go into play are the coverage. All right, we've got a 4-4. There's 11 players on the field. We've accounted for 8. In this defense, you're going to have 3 more players. You're going to have 2 cornerbacks and a safety. Now, in my defense, I like to have one of my linebackers, my outside linebackers, be a safety type, meaning he can cover, he can go drop back there as a strong safety, or even a true kind of free safety like player if I want to run cover 2. So usually one of these guys is going to be athletic enough to join the defensive backfield if I want to go with 4 DBs. But right now, we're just going with a 4-4, cover 3. All right. So, put a corner, free safety, corner. All right. Now with the 2 corners on the board and the free safety deep. We'll first start out talking about, I guess, depth. In cover 3, these guys are 7 yards. I think you can see that. If not, 7 yards. We're standing at 7 yards here. 7 yards. All right, yeah, it's probably pretty small, but they're at 7. This guy is probably playing at about 12. Now, we could shorten it up to 10. Depends on the team you're playing, how well the quarterback can throw if they've got a strong arm. But our corners are at 7, and they're on an inside shade on the receiver. They want to force their receivers out to the sideline. All right, free safety, 10 to 12 yards, depending upon the arm strength of the quarterback. Playing directly over the ball, unless you want to cheat him towards a really good receiver. All right, but we've got a 4-4 cover 3. All right, now in cover 3, you divide the field into 3 parts. All right, a football field has those hash marks running down the field. Well, we're breaking up the field into 3 parts. Those 3 parts are called what? They're called thirds, all right? Just like the fraction 1/3. So on a football field, you're doing the same thing. You're breaking the field down into thirds. So you've got your hash marks running down the field. And each defensive back has a responsibility to cover that deep third, and no receiver is to get behind them. If a receiver gets behind any one of these guys in their zone, it's over. It's done. All right, you're beat. So these guys want to be the deepest guys on the field. Nobody gets behind them. All right, so as a cornerback with a deep third, you've got sideline to hash mark going all the way back down the field. Free safety, same thing. Hash mark to hash mark going down the field. And then this corner has hash mark to the sideline going all the way down the field. All right, so the DBs have split this field into 3 parts, and they have covered 3. All right, so let's clean this board up. Let's make it nice and pretty so we can do a quick recap. All right, so offensive line, tight end, strong left. All right, we got a nose tackle in a 1 technique. We got a D tackle, strong side 3 technique. We got a weak side end in a 5 technique. We got a strong side end in a 6 technique. Shade, 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 shade. All right, now we got our 4 backers, 4-4 stack. Outside backer, Mike, Sam. In my defense, I like to have a strong safety. All right, so you got your Will backer, Mike backer, Sam backer, strong safety. All right, 4-4 corners, free corner. All right, cover 3, cover 3, cover 3. That there is a 4-4 stack, 4-4 cover 3 defense. Kids, remember, you got to pay attention to school. You got to pay attention to math, because when your coach tells you you got deep thirds, you need to know what a third looks like. If coach says you got deep half, you need to know what a half is. You need to know what quarters are. You got to be able to use the numbers. If they're teaching you number alignment and you can't do a basic number line, you're going to struggle. All right, so let's stay focused in school. Let's pay attention in the classroom. And when it's time for chalk talk and your coaches are teaching you something new, installing new plays, new schemes, make sure you're not talking to your friends. Make sure you're paying attention, and if you have the opportunity, write this stuff down. I guarantee you it'll take you a long way, and you'll be a great high school football player. Have a good day. Remember, Coach Jackson, Jimmy Lee, Go Roads.